Good evening, everyone. My name is Denoris Wilson, and you are now tuned in to the BRI, which is the Black Research Institute, where we're here and we're committed to solving the problems. Tonight is a special edition. Um, it's just me tonight, so it may be a reduced show, but it's just me, and it's something that I want to talk about. Um, that I think like we need to actually just really think about, like just think about everything that's happening in the world today, and we should think about it. So tonight, title of the show is called Recognize. So that's the title of the show, and that's what we're going to be doing. I'm gonna roll the secondary intro of the gambit and a couple of promos, and we're gonna make it happen. All right.
Hi, this is Tracy Wilson, and you are watching the BRI with my husband, Denoris Wilson.
What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your girl Paulette from Suitland, Maryland, and you're watching BRI, Black Research Institute, with my boy, Denoris Wilson. Stay tuned.
What's up, world? It's your girl, Latanya Michelle, and I am the owner of Tiger Eyes 360 Media Group, home of Proof Magazine, a Black woman's proof that positive Black men exist. And you are tuned in to Black Research Institute with my boy, Denoris Wilson.
All right, then we're back. I was trying to set something up in the back, but tonight, man, tonight's show is called Recognize. And I think as a Black Americans, we have failed to recognize like just different times of history and like opportunities that present itself. So I got a lot that I want to unpack, but I know that I'm not going to be able to unpack everything. So I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what goes on in my mind. Okay, so the brain, right? The brain is a computer, right? Like that's what it is. It operates like a computer. It controls everything, your limbs, your speech, your breathing, your heart. It's a CPU. It's a central processing unit, right? But just like any computer, that brain or that CPU has to be fed information in order for it to work a particular way. It has to be fed information. And that information is deemed artificial intelligence. Not real intelligence, because real intelligence comes from experience and trial and error. But artificial intelligence, meaning that intelligence of that CPU was placed in it. It didn't gain that intelligence through experience and trial and error. It got that experience because that experience was placed in them, right? So when you think about that and you think about the brain being a computer, you have to understand that a lot of us are walking around now and we're operating off of artificial intelligence. That's what we're doing. We're operating off artificial intelligence because the intelligence that we think we have, that we know, was given to us. It's not something that you have labored or something that you have endeavored to experience to get that intelligence, right? So it's artificial because it's given to you through years of training, through school. Everything is artificial. Now, I say that to say this. When you think about Black Americans or Black people in America, I want you to take a brief 10 seconds to think about any positive portrayal of Black Americans in American society. Right? Like when you think about American society, I want you to give me any positive, well, not give me, but just think about any positive portrayal of anybody that is of African descent, meaning Black Americans, that America does. Right? Now, take in mind, always keep this into account, that there are 43 plus million Black Americans that the census has calculated in America. So 43 million. So if you can name 10 people that America portrays in a excuse me, if you can name 10 people of color, not of color, if you can name 10 Black people that America portrays in a good light, in a positive light, right? That's only 10 out of 43 million. Now you may ask, well, why do I bring that up? Well, think about a TV show. We call it a TV show. The professionals call it a TV program, right? It's a program. And if you look at programming, it sort of conditions you towards a certain outlook or towards a certain feeling or towards a certain experience with something. They're programming you to like this show enough to be able to watch this show, like my show, every Monday at 8:00. It's a program that you're being programmed. Any show that you watch on a consistent basis, you are being programmed. So we know that these programs have a particular agenda. They have an agenda that they want to accomplish, right? We got to ask ourselves, okay, so if we don't like Black people are not in control of any media outlets. We're not in control of the radio. We're not in control of the newspapers. We're not in control of the news outlets. We're not in control of the music industry. We're not in control. So any music that we hear on the radio, in commercials, any music that we hear is music that someone said, put this out. Now I was listening to some rap music today. I was on Shade 45, and you know, I appreciate the talent that the young brothers display when it comes to rapping, but their content is so dark. It's either sex, money, drugs, or guns. That's what it is. There's no in between. Now, I know for a fact that there are MCs out there that are pushing and spitting a more positive message. But those MCs and those artists are not getting out. It's no fault of their own. We're not controlling the industry. But these artists are not getting out. But only the artists that talk about sex, drugs, guns, and money are infiltrating our ears. And when they infiltrate our ears, what are they actually doing? They are putting information into the brain computer. That information is going into your brain computer. And your brain is analyzing that information and trying to put it in places where, you know, you can easily recall it. But if you are not conscious of what you're putting into your brain computer, then you can never know what comes out. Like you never know what comes out. Like one day you may be saying, all right, let me stop there. I heard a term on the radio today, and a rapper was saying something to the extent that a female messed with a real N-word and she know the difference. Right? Now, I don't know what he meant, but the way he said it, it made it sound like a real N-word is more ruthless than a regular black person because they keep it 100. And but that right there is a part of programming. Now the title of this particular show is called Recognize. And I titled it that because I was driving along and I understand something that a lot of people are looking for signs, meaning they are looking for something to tell them what is going to happen. They're looking in front of them to tell them what's going to happen. And as long as they are looking in front for a sign to tell them what's going to happen, they're gonna always be behind, because what's going to happen has been told to you by the signs that's behind you. You haven't recognized the signs. You haven't recognized the signs. Now, for example, like we as a people, you have some of us who believe that there's a grand conspiracy that white people have to destroy us. It's a conspiracy that white people are they just trying to destroy us, or they just trying to oppress us. But we don't take into account that, or maybe we do, but they operate out of a system, right? It's a system. It's not individuals. It's a whole entire system that is at play. And that entire system has been working against Black Americans ever since we stepped foot on these shores of North America and everywhere else. That system has been working against us. And we have been trying to change the system, like the protests, the marching, the boycotts. We're trying to change the system. But you can't change the system if you're not in the system. Meaning that if you don't have any representatives that are in positions to even lobby for you against the system, then all of your boycotting, all of your marching, all of your protests is just loudly begging. You're loudly begging. When you're telling the cops or the police officers to stop killing Black men, but you don't encourage Black men to become police officers, you're begging. Because you don't really have a dog in the fight, so to speak. Right? You don't understand that it is a system that is at play. And that's what makes life for Black Americans, or anywhere else, Black people anywhere else, hard, because we're not going against individuals. It's not individuals that are that is oppressing us, that is killing us, that is marginalizing us. It's not individuals, it's a system. And true indeed, individuals have to participate in that system for that system to work properly. But nevertheless, it's still a system, right? It's a system. And if you don't have anyone to lobby for you at that level of the system, then you're begging, right? You're begging. So what I mean by recognize is that we have to start looking at things from the present to now and try to connect the dots as to how we got here. Like, yeah, we know we got here from Africa. Most of us, our ancestors rather, got here from Africa on slave ships. We know that. But there are a multitude of things that happened between 1619 and 2021 that has landed us where we are. A multitude of things that have landed us right where we are right now today. Slavery was one incident, and after slavery, we had the black slave laws or the black codes, Jim Crowism. Then we had the civil rights era. Then we had the crack epidemic, right? And then we had like HIV. Like, it was just crazy. Like, a lot of things have worked against us, but we haven't connected the dots because we are trying to change a system by trying to change individuals. And even though, once again, I said individuals make up the system, but the system is more powerful than the individual. You have to change the system. And in order to change the system, you have to get people in positions to lobby. And we have neglected that for a long time. We have neglected that for a long time. Do I hate police officers? No, I don't. I believe anyone that wakes up every morning and honorably does a job to serve and protect the community is a blessing. But do I believe every police officer does that? No, I don't believe that. I hold police officers, I hold people in positions to a higher standard than I would hold someone who is out here struggling to make ends meet. Because I know, adversity, breeds a lot of things. When your back up is up against the wall, you would do a lot of things to make sure that you survive. But if you are in position of leadership and no one forced you in those positions, these are positions that you decided that you wanted to do. Maybe you decided it was your calling. Maybe you decided that you had something to offer better, but whatever it is, it was your decision to do it. It was your decision to get in these positions of leadership and authority. And you know what these positions entail, and what are the qualifications, and what are the and what the job descriptions of these positions are. So I hold you to a higher standard because no one forced you to do that job, right? So getting back to recognize, we got to recognize things that they're obvious, but they're not obvious. For example, in the 1990s or late 1980s, in the 1990s, the federal government passed a law that was a handgun law. Mandatory 5 years sentence if you got caught with a handgun in the commission of a crime. Mandatory 5 years. Now, although everyone in America, because it's a law, although everyone in America fit were subjected to that law. That was a targeted law. It was no different than the slave or the black codes in Jim Crow era. It was no different. That was a targeted law, and I say that because of this. Whenever they do laws, laws are based on data. You're just not gonna enact a law for one incident. You're gonna enact a law for several incidents, right? Because those incidents are problems. So we try to fix those problems. Now, mandatory handgun law, right? The reason why I say it was a targeted law is because the data suggests that most brothers who possess handguns have these guns illegally. So if you have an illegal handgun, that was a mandatory sentence too. Most brothers who have these guns have them illegally, right? So that law was targeting for young black and brown men. That was a targeted law. They won't admit it, but it was a targeted law, right? 1,500 feet. They had another law on the books. If you got caught selling drugs 1,500 feet from a school or a place of learning, you can be charged with a felony. Now, 1,500 feet may not seem like it's a lot, right? It may not seem like it's a lot, but what if you lived in New York? What if you lived in New Haven, Connecticut? What if you lived in Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Chicago, right? 1,500 feet is a lot of ground. I know when I lived in New Haven, there was a school or daycare just about on every block. A school or daycare, another targeted law. Why? Because most Caucasians live out in suburbs where they don't have daycares in the suburbs. They don't have schools in the suburbs, right? Schools are in cities or outskirts, but they're not in community-based places. A targeted law. I could be wrong, but just my opinion. It's my opinion. It was a targeted law. So we have to recognize these things. And the reason why we have to recognize these things, because if we recognize them, then we can do something about them. Right? Like we can do something about them. We can change the way we move by recognizing. But we don't recognize things. Right? Like Andrew Brown, may he rest in peace. He got shot. Like we won't remember him. We won't remember him in 2 weeks. It'll be over with in 2 weeks. It'll be over with in 2 weeks. Now I don't know all the particulars of the case, but I do know that I don't care what they said happened, right? I don't care what they said happened. If they didn't find a weapon, or if he wasn't trying to shoot on them, then every officer that shot his weapon was wrong. I remember there was a case in New Haven, Connecticut, a young brother named Malik Jones, and he was shot and killed by the police, and the police shot him because they said that he was trying to run them over. And when I heard that, initially I thought like, yo, okay, well, he's trying to run them over. He's, they deserve to shoot him. But then I really thought about it. It's like, you can just move out of the way. Right? You can move out of the way. Maybe he wasn't trying to run you over. Maybe he was just trying to get away. And even if he's trying to get away, if he has not threatened your life and you have not seen a gun, you shouldn't be firing on him. You know who he is. Why are you firing on him because he's trying to get away? But that was years after I thought about it. But we have been programmed to think like, you know, like I was programmed to think like, okay, he tried to run the police over. Yeah, he deserved to get shot. And I honestly thought that until I really sat down and thought about it. Like, yo, they was trying to arrest him on a warrant. He hadn't been convicted of anything. He didn't have a gun. He wasn't violent towards him. He was trying to get away. And you can just move out of the way. But I digress. We will forget about Andre Brown in 2 weeks. Because we react off emotion. Everybody, a lot of people are mad. They're upset. They're hurt that the young brother died, but that's an emotion. And we can't deal with this emotionally. We got to deal with this in accordance to the system, right? In accordance to the system. That's one thing I always admire about Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall understood that, you know what? I mean, you can't defend feelings. Can't defend feelings. But if you put something down on paper that says this is how something is supposed to be, then you can't deny that. Like you can't deny it's on paper. Your feelings are personal, but if it's on paper, you can't deny that. And let me tell y'all something. Right now, we are at a unique period of time where there's opportunities for us to change the trajectory of, future generations right now. There's an opportunity for us to do that. But we have to do it together. We can't do it on an individual basis. We can't do it on an individual basis. We have to do it together. We need to get behind some fund, some movement that is totally about educating, uplifting, and instilling us with the pride and the mental fortitude that we need to be able to carry on and not just survive. We want to live. I know I want to live, but I know that I don't care how much money I make. I don't care how much success I have. I know that I can't do it without all of us. Because if one of us is in jeopardy, then we all in jeopardy. Right? So we need to take advantage of opportunities. I had a conversation, well, not a conversation, but I had a post with a young lady. She was talking about, the unemployment and the PPP loans. Where she wasn't talking about the PPP loans. She was talking about unemployment and how there are jobs out here. True indeed, there are a lot of jobs out here. A lot of jobs out here right now. But that's not the problem. The problem is not that people don't want to work. The problem is that these jobs don't want to pay. There are a lot of jobs out here that don't want to pay. And if I can sit at home and protect myself and draw unemployment, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? That's logical. You have Yale, Harvard, banks They all get the PPP loan, and they multi-million-dollar institutions, and they're banks, and they get the PPP loan. And you understand what I'm saying? Like, people who worked at these companies that are not able to work anymore because the banks closed down or the schools closed down, you better believe they're getting unemployment. If a professor at Yale University, and the university closed down, I guarantee you that professor gets unemployment. I guarantee it. Now, it would be easy for that professor to go back to work because that professor made pretty good money. He has a career. But most people that's drawing unemployment right now, they have jobs. They don't have careers. They have jobs that are paid by the hour, not salary jobs. They have jobs where they don't have any benefits, no health benefits. They have jobs, not careers. They're making $10, $12, $13 an hour. They have jobs. And when they work those jobs, they have to go to those jobs to put food on their table. So for me, if you can draw unemployment, and until the country opens back up, then draw unemployment. Draw it. And don't let no one make you feel any different about it. This is an opportunity for you. This is an opportunity for you to sit back and reassess your life and decide what you're going to do when the country opens back up. Now, don't be sitting on there drawing unemployment and not thinking about the future. Don't be thinking about the future. Take advantage of opportunity. Recognize an opportunity. Recognize an opportunity. Take a break. I'm going to come back and finish up. But just let's recognize an opportunity, people.
Hi, I'm Dominic Manuel, CEO of the firm ENT LLC, and you're watching the BRI Black Research Institute with Denores Wilson.
What's up, everybody? This is Trophy Santiago with Hair Mafia Extensions, and you are watching BRI Black Research Institute with Denores Wilson.
Okay, and we're back. So I left off with recognize, man, and I think, like, for me, in the past, I woke up every day and I just took the day as it came. Meaning, I dealt with whatever I had to deal with that day. I didn't plan anything. I didn't forecast anything. I just woke up and whatever happened, I dealt with it as it came. But in doing that, I realized that a lot of things that happened in my life, I left up to chance. Like I left up, to chance, a chance happening. I wasn't really intentional in what I wanted to do. And I think that's what we as a black Americans, we need to do. We need to be intentional in what we do. And in the spirit of being intentional, I want to start something that I'm calling the talented 10th. And for anybody that's on this, that's watching me right now, if you know a brother, or if you know an older brother who's working, making money, that's doing something, just implore them to connect with me on the talented 10th. Now, what the talented 10th is, there are 43 million black people in America. 43 million. Out of that 43 million, there are approximately 23 million black men or males. Out of that 23 million black males, roughly around 12 million of them are adult males. So we have 12 million adult males. The talented 10th wants to take 10% of that 12 million, and we all get together and we donate $100 a month to a cause that we feel that is important. My cause is education. I believe education is so important because education equips you with the ability to not only know something, but the ability to think. It equips you with the ability to think. So I want to champion or campaign for more education. And when I mean by education, I mean education by us and for us. So I'm concentrating on the black HBCUs, the historically black colleges, because I believe that people learn better when the person that's teaching them resembles them. I think they actually learn better when the people that is teaching them resembles them. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. So, yeah, you have some people say, well, I had a good Caucasian teacher. Yeah, there are exceptions to the rules. There are exceptions to every rule. But there still is a rule, and the rule is the standard. I know from first grade to 12th grade, I had one black teacher. One black teacher, and that was in the 5th grade. So from the 5th grade all the way up to I graduated high school, I didn't have a black teacher representative of higher education. And up until that point, I only had one person that had ever went to college when I was a senior in high school, or I was a junior in high school, and my cousin Carla was the first person in our family to ever go to college. So I wasn't around people who went to college. So going to college was not even on my radar. It wasn't even on my radar until I went into Bill Hager's office, and he asked me what I was going to do with my life. And right then and there, I didn't know what I was going to do. He asked me, did I want to go to college? And you know, where I'm from, if you didn't have no job, you was either going to the military or going to college. And I didn't want to go to the military. I didn't want to fight. Wound up going to the military anyway, but I didn't want to fight. That's not something that I wanted to do. So yeah, I wanted to go to college, and he took me to a trip to Elizabeth City, and I got to see so many intelligent, thriving, funny, witty Black people. All Black people on this campus, surrounded by intelligent Black people from all over, from Seattle, Washington to New Jersey, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., New York, Atlanta. Some people came all the way from Arkansas. Like, it was just Black people from all over. And I was amazed and I was astounded that not only, I'm at an all Black school, because where I went to school at, we only had maybe 65 Black people in our class. So when where I went to school at for grade school, it wasn't like that. And I tell everyone to this day, I'm glad I went to Elizabeth City. I didn't get to finish. I didn't graduate from there, but that had a great impact on my life moving forward. So education to me is key. So that's the cause I want to champion. But if you have a cause that you want to champion, tell me. Tell me where you need me to be. Tell me where you need me to be to fit in to help you champion this cause to help our people. And I'm there. But don't have me doing something that's out of my depth. I'm a graphic designer. That's what I do. So show me how those skills can help you bring your cause into fruition. And I'm there. But we all know that we live in America, which is a capitalistic place. So we need money. So whatever we want to do, whatever cause we want to champion, we need money. And that's another thing that we haven't done. We haven't invested in ourselves on a grand scale. We haven't invested in ourselves. We have to invest in ourselves. And when I say ourselves, I don't mean investing in your little cousin that's trying to go to college, or, your friend. I mean investing in us as Black people as a whole. We need a fund. We need a fund that's strictly for us. Other people have it. Other people have that fund that's strictly for them. We need a fund that's strictly for us, that goes strictly towards our benefit. And that fund has to come from us. We can't really ask nobody else to be the beneficiary, not beneficiary, to be the what they call them. We can't ask no one else to supply that fund. We have to supply that fund ourselves. We can't always be doing this. We can't always be asking with our hand out. Sometimes we got to be doing this. We got to be giving to ourselves. We have been marching. We have been peacefully protesting, which I think the marching and the peaceful protest should have went out the window of the ideas of our mind when they assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King. They assassinated a man who didn't do nothing. He wasn't violent. He didn't have a gun. He was a preacher, for heaven's sakes. He was a preacher or an ordained minister. And they still found a way to hate him enough to kill him. So if they found a way to hate him enough to kill him, and he did nothing but march and protest and boycott, why are we still trying those methods? Why are we still trying those methods? Do we think those methods actually work? Because the same thing that they was dealing with police brutality, voting issues, poor housing, they were dealing with these things in the 1960s, and we're still dealing with them now. But we don't recognize that. We don't recognize that we have been dealing with the same issues for as long as we've been in this country. We've been dealing with these issues. And we have been expecting the people who put these issues on us, and the system that put these issues on us, we've been expecting the system and the people that do these things to us to actually change, to actually just say, we're not going to do it. We're going to change the whole system. Even though this system benefits us, we're going to change the whole system because it ain't right. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. We have to do something. So if you know any brothers, or even any sisters, but I prefer brothers, because we are supposed to be the leaders and the protectors of our families. And if you are a man, the entire Black American population is your family, not just the person that you birthed, because your kid could be Trayvon easily. Your kid can be Mike Brown or Tamar or Philandro. Like your kid can be those just about in the blink of an eye. Your kid can be those too. So we gotta watch out and protect each other. And the first thing that we must do, living in a capitalistic country, we need a fund that we can go to as a people for mortgages, car loans. For the life of me, I don't even know why there's not like, I know there's Black banks, but I don't even know why there's not like a United Black Federal Credit Union. I don't know why there's not like that, right? And I know other people have tried, like the United Bank, they have tried, but like I got United Bank because I was searching for a Black bank. I was searching for a Black bank. I was searching for it, but you won't see a United Bank commercial on TV. Why? Why don't you see a United Bank commercial on TV? Why you don't hear about it on the radio? Why you don't see advertisement for it on Facebook? Why you don't see advertisement for it on Instagram? United First, I think it's First United. Hold on. I'm gonna make sure I get the right thing. Make sure I get the right thing. Okay, so all right, so we got a couple of Black-owned banks, But my problem with the black-owned banks is, why don't you have national commercials? If you are a black-owned bank and you're trying to cater to Black Americans, why don't you have a national commercial? Is that because you're not trying to put them out, or is that by design? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's by design, and I think it's because you're not trying to put it out. But I'm confused. Like, I can see a Capital One commercial, I can see a Chase Bank commercial, I can see a BB&T, Ozark Bank of the Ozark, PNC. I can see all these commercials, but I don't see a commercial for United Bank. Why? Right? We got to ask ourselves these questions. Why? Because it's a system. It's a system. And once you recognize that the system is not like for your benefit, once you recognize that the system is not for your benefit, then you're able to sort of maneuver, because you know that it's not for you. This system is not for us. It's not made for us. When they developed the Constitution, they did not account for us being free. Point blank, period. That is, they didn't account for that. And anyone that says that they did, then they didn't. Then I don't understand how anyone could even fathom to think that when they wrote the Constitution of the United States, that they envisioned their Black slaves as being fellow citizens on equal under God and under the law with them. That's not what they envisioned. That was not the intention. And I always say, the intention is much more important than the actual effect. I mean, it's almost like if I'm giving someone CPR and I crack their chest, my intention was to save their life. And even though I may have damaged them, my intention and what was in my heart was to save their lives. What was in their hearts when they wrote the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution, what was in their hearts, that Black men and women were not human. They were possessions. They were cattle. They were stock. They were property. And that's something that we've been battling with ever since 1619. Trying to be equal to them. Trying to make them see that we're human just like them. And they can't see it. And we're wasting our time trying to convince them, when we need to be spending more time building each other up, fortifying one another with love. We celebrate things and we don't really know what we're celebrating. I was on a retreat and, I heard somebody say, such and such was the first Black. And, a lot of times when you are the first Black to do something, you put that up as an accomplishment. Okay. I used to see like the logic in that. First Black man on the moon, first Black man to score so many touchdowns, first Black man to be elected president, first black man to be president of this company, first black, first black. But when you take into account that black people been in this country just as long as white people been in this country. So if we're still producing first black anything, that's not an accomplishment for black people. That's not an accomplishment for black people. That is an accomplishment for white people, because that shows that their heart is opening up. It shows that they are being more human. People can say what they want to say, but if black people been here since 1619 and white people been here since 1619, there shouldn't be no first black nothing ever. We should have been past that. Or no first female ever, unless it's something extraordinary, like first female to deadlift 500 pounds or something like that. But what I'm saying is that we celebrate things, and in our celebrating of those things, we're actually paying homage to them. For example, you have the Oscars, you have the Tonys, you have the Emmys, and then you have the Soul Train Music Awards, right? Now, you have some stars that won't even, black stars, that won't go to the Soul Train Music Awards. But we'll go to Oscar, or we go to Emmy, or we go to Tony and dress up and everything. Why? You devalue something that for me is your people are acknowledging you or your talents for by not going, but you will go and participate and show your face to these Emmys and these Grammys and all these people who don't really care for you. It's about money for them. And you'll go and you'll accept their award and you'll be happy for the award. Why are you happy to get a Grammy and not happy to get a Soul Train Music Award, and not ecstatic to get a Soul Train Music Award? Because you've been programmed to think that anything that's black can't compare to anything that's white. And you've been programmed to think that. You may not think you have, but you've been programmed to think that. There was a study where they had these baby dolls, and they had a black baby doll and they had a white baby doll, and they had all these black kids come in this room, and they asked these black kids to choose the better looking baby doll. And 90% of them chose, 90% of the black kids chose the white baby doll. Now, that ain't self-hate. That's not self-hate. They don't hate themselves. They don't hate black people. They just been programmed to think that that is better. It's just a program. It's a part of the system. If you think about it, man, there are no positive images of black people in media unless it's sports or entertainment. You don't see a show of a black family besides the Cosby Show. Name a show, and I think it's Family Matters, but he was a cop. But anyway, name a black show that shows a black, wholesome, stable family. You don't even have that. Besides the Cosby Show and Family Matters and somewhat the Jeffersons. But other than that, you don't have that. And And that is not because that doesn't exist. That's not because it doesn't exist. It's by design. And you got to recognize that. You got to recognize that, yes, of course, yeah, you got Young Thug and Lil Wayne and all these rappers, and they talking about lean, and they talking about smoking and popping mollies and Xanax. Yeah, you have all these rappers doing that. But there are other rappers out here that are talking positive things, but they're not getting heard. Why? It's the exact same reason why Public Enemy didn't last, but I mean, they lasted a long time, but they wasn't relevant for it. Like after 1991, 92, like they were relevant for maybe 3 years. Then you had X-Clan that was relevant for maybe 2 albums. Now, X-Clan was more metaphysical than Public Enemy. Public Enemy was direct, really. Like they were direct, and it shocked me that they were able to accomplish and do the things that they were able to do in that particular time. But they were direct. Chuck D, they were direct, and you never had to question what they stood for. Whereas X-Clan was more metaphysical. Like you had to really listen to them to get them. Right? Brand Nubians, Poor Righteous Teachers, YZ. There was just a lot of conscious rappers that were good that just faded away. Why? By design. And you got to recognize that. You got to recognize that when you hear anything about them trying to redistrict a particular area, that's no different than what they was doing with the grandfather clause or trying to suppress your voting. It's no different. Same outcome, just a different method on how to accomplish it. And you have to recognize those things. Because if you don't recognize those things, you'll be fighting the same battles over and over and over and over and not know you're fighting the same battle. So therefore, you're going to try to employ methods that you have already used for this battle, but you don't know that it's the same battle. You think it's something new. It ain't new. It's not new. It's not new. So we need to recognize and the first thing that we need to recognize is that we need to love one another. We need to love one another, and don't feed into the narratives. You have people that say, how are we gonna expect white people or Caucasians to care about killing us when we kill us? Well, listen, proximity dictates that there are more Asians that kill Asians than anybody else. There are more white people that kill white people than anybody else. And there's going to be more black people that kill black people than anybody else because of proximity, period. So that argument of if we killing one another, why would they care? That doesn't fit with me. I guarantee you there are more Asians that kill Asians than anybody else. That's just proximity. Right? But the real question is, how many black cops do you know shoot unarmed white people or Asian people or Hispanic people or black people for that matter? That's the real question. How many? How many black cops are beaten up? I'm not even gonna call them prisoners. People who've been arrested. How many black officers were involved in the Amadou Diallo case? That's the real question. So I digress. Listen, y'all, the Talented 10th, I'm going to be putting up a link to where I'm going to be on Thursdays. I'm going to be having a Zoom, and everyone's invited. It's going to be the Talented 10th Zoom. We're gonna network, and it's not gonna be any type of live meeting or anything like that. It's just gonna be a Zoom where if you want to participate in this networking event or in this conversation, the link will be on all of my social media pages to join the Zoom. It's gonna be open forum, and we're gonna and I want us to really discuss where we think we are, where we think we should be, and where do we want to go, and what do we want to see for our people. I have ideas, and my ideas may not be the idea that we need to use. That doesn't matter to me. I want to get with like-minded people that understand that, look, what we are facing is generations old. Generations old. So it's not going to change with one generation, but it has to start with one generation. And I think the generation that, or the generations that are alive right now are just the ones that do it. But we got to do it together. We got to do it together. So in the spirit of that, I do you as I always do. I bid you adieu and let you know that I love you. I love all of you. And remember, in order for you to receive a blessing, you must first be a blessing. Peace. Okay, I know I was supposed to go, but I just was reading on my comments, and a brother named Jet Edwards, brother I really respect, he says, only productive people get opportunities, not those that are home collecting government checks. And okay, and my retort to that is everybody get opportunities. Everyone gets opportunities. Opportunities are not um, um, conditional on whether you're productive or not. You can be sitting at home and an opportunity knocks at your door. It's an opportunity. So what I think what you really meant to say was not everyone is in a position to take advantage of the opportunity because maybe they're not educated enough. For example, when I was in the Navy, this guy came around and he was trying to get us to buy into those portable ATMs. Now at that time, I'm just now leaving college. I didn't even have a bank card at that time. I didn't have a bank card, so I didn't foresee that these ATMs would be big money makers because I wasn't educated on money. I wasn't educated on. My first bank account was when I was in the Navy. And when he came by, I hadn't even got my bank card yet. So I didn't know nothing about banking. So I wasn't in a position to take advantage of the opportunity. But the opportunity still was presented to me. It still was there. But because I was ignorant, I couldn't take advantage of it. So Jet, brother, let me tell you, listen, we can say what we want to say about people who are collecting unemployment checks. But best believe if there were jobs out there that were paying these people who are collecting these checks equally with benefits, these people would be working. I don't understand how someone could even say that Black Americans are lazy when we carried this country for 250 years for free. So I don't know how anyone could even equate laziness with us. We may be procrastinators. We may be just wild, ambitious thinkers, but I don't think the majority of us are lazy. We can't afford to be lazy. We can't afford to be lazy. But if an opportunity arises and a person is able to make more money sitting at home during a pandemic than they would make if they went to work, risking their safety, how can you even criticize that? Like, think about it. We are in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. Worldwide pandemic. And then when we're not in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, we're relegated to menial jobs that don't pay livable wages, then have to go through these temp services that won't give you any benefits. So my question for anyone that even talks badly about someone receiving unemployment or a PPP loan, right? What is your beef? What is your beef? So if you don't want anybody to get unemployment or PPP loan, don't buy nothing on sale. Because that's a handout. If it's on sale, that's just like a handout. You ain't paying full price. Don't buy nothing on sale. Buy all your stuff full price. If you're going to talk about people who are taking advantage of an opportunity and protecting themselves, whatever the case may be, if you're going to talk about those people, then what are you doing to get those people livable wage paying jobs with benefits? Because if they go out here and work these minimal jobs with no benefits and catch COVID, then what? Then what? We're in the middle of a national pandemic. You or anybody complaining about someone on unemployment is ludicrous to me. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's like wearing your mask in the restaurant just to take your mask off to eat. That doesn't make any sense. Right? But Jet, you're way over in Japan. And you said something in your live interview, that you said that the blacks over there, y'all all get along, y'all support one another. But brother, the blacks in Japan, they're not a threat. They're not a threat to Japan's way of living. Because there's so few of you. And I don't even want, I hate to say it, but it's so few of you that all of y'all are tokens. You may not look at it like that, but you're a token. But let's see how many people from Haiti or Nigeria or the Sudan, if they need refuge in Japan. Let's see if Japan will let those people over there. Let's see if they'll let them come to their country. No. But you're talking about Black Americans as though you're here experiencing it. Nah, Jet, that ain't right, bro. That's not right. If they get in unemployment, then that's their business. What they doing with their unemployment is their business. What they doing with their PPP is their business. And if it comes back to bite them, they have to be the one that deal with it. Right? I am saying, you as a Black person, me as a Black person, that ain't none of our business. It ain't none of our business. Let them do what they think they need to do. Let them do what they think they need to do. And love them. And like, all right, I'm gone, y'all. I love y'all. I love each and every one of y'all, but we need to recognize that we have been programmed to be against one another. It's a program, and I'm not saying that it's intentional, but nevertheless, it's a program. Right? It's a program. And that program has effects. And some of the effects is you've been programmed not to trust one another. You've been programmed to look sideways at one another. You've been programmed to criticize and chastise one another because you've been programmed to be just like the people who are responsible for the program. Can't remember what verse it is in Proverbs, but it says, after a while, the oppressed will begin to take on the characteristics of their oppressors. Just remember that. Peace.